they call it incestuous marketing. You just copy and copy, and it gets dumber and dumber. Like there's no mincing of words when my offer says your home sold guaranteed or I'll buy it. Most of my business came from me just being a hustler. You know, people go, oh, what did you do to get this? Where did you come from? It's like, oh no, I actually just kind of worked hard. You just have to believe and do it. I am confident if you come and work with me and you follow with what we're saying, you're going to get deals.
Welcome back to the Reside Platform Podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking to a real estate team leader that has doubled their business over the last 3 years. Not only that, but they doubled their business after moving to a completely new marketplace. It's Jason Clark with the Jason Clark Real Estate Team. He went from Kelowna, BC to Kingston, Ontario, where nobody knew who he was. No brand recognition, no marketing, and right out of the gate has been successful, and his team's growing, but not only growing, doubling their volume year after year when the marketplace has been declining. Jason, welcome to the Reside Platform Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Nick. Glad to be here.
I mean, that's pretty amazing, right? Like, how do you go from one marketplace to another and not only be successful right out of the gate, but double your business in terms of sales? I mean, you're going to learn how Jason went from 30 sales his first year to 55 and now on pace for 100 and growing while the marketplace, I'm assuming, is declining, Jason. So take me back to your story. Take me back to Kelowna. How did you start in real estate and how did you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, actually, I wasn't from Kelowna either. So I'm originally from Mississauga, Ontario, which is a large suburb right beside Toronto. And I was in the marketing space. So I was the operations manager for Canada's largest direct mail company. That took me out to Vancouver. So that brought me out west because we were expanding our company out there. So we were adding some team members from some competitors. And so I lived downtown Vancouver, and I met my wife there. And then eventually we had a little baby, Valerie, who's now 8 years old. Oh, awesome. And I didn't want to raise her downtown Vancouver. So we kind of decided, hey, let's either go back east, which means Ontario, or we both liked Kelowna, which a lot of people love it because the Okanagan and the weather and the lakes and all the wineries and all the fun stuff to do. So we went there, and then and I was doing the marketing in the direct mail there, but I was renting my office inside a real estate office. I took a little space and it was a little boutique real estate office, and I'm like, I saw what these guys were doing and how much they were making. And I'm like, literally went back into my office and registered to become a real estate agent. And then 4 months later, I was a real estate agent, and I joined Remax there, and I became rookie of the year. And I was a new city for me there as well. So what brought me back to Kingston though, is my daughter was starting to grow up. My wife's originally from Montreal, which is only 2-3 hours from Kingston. So we chose this area here to come back so she could have both her grandparents and her cousins and all that fun stuff, and started over when I got here.
Well, I want to dive into really the secrets to your success over the last few years, and really how the secrets to your future success as well, and how you've joined forces with the Reside platform. But let's talk about direct mail for a minute here. You know, we've interviewed some people on this podcast, and direct response marketing was the key to their success. And if you don't know what direct response marketing is, it's basically sending out marketing pieces, whether it's direct mail or email or online, and soliciting a response from the marketing, whether that's a call, email, text, go to the website. That way you could track the marketing, close it, and hold your advertising accountable, versus branded marketing where you're just like top of mind, eventually it's going to work. Right. So take me to direct mail. What did you learn there, and how did that help you in your real estate career?
Yeah, I always knew, just because obviously even how I even got into direct mail was I was actually running an aluminum roofing company where 90% of our leads came in through direct mail. So I knew it worked. I mean, it's everybody has a mailbox and they have to go to it. And so if you're sending them a piece of direct mail, you're paying for that to go there and them to look at it and go, is this something I'm interested? Yes or no, toss, but or keep, right? You're going to send them an email. They can delete it. They might go to spam. You're doing an ad on YouTube. They can skip it. They can block it. They get like mailbox. They have to look at it. So that's why that's always been one of my key parts in building any kind of omnipresence and creating calls.
Did you use direct mail in your business early on in Kelowna, and have you used it again in Kingston?
I use it from day one, and I still use it now.
Give me some let's give some listeners examples of this, like tactically, whether they do it as their team or their brokerage, or they teach their agents in their team or brokers to do it.
So there's two different main ways that you're going to be doing direct mail. There's depending on the city you're in, but like say in the States and across Canada, there's the Val Pack envelope, right, where you're in there with other pieces of mail. So it's a co-op mail piece. So you're sharing the cost of the direct mail. So where you're going to maybe hit a house for a few cents a house, where if you do your own postcard that you've printed it, you've designed it, it's going out as that piece of mail, you're paying for all the direct costs from Canada Post or the US Postal Service. So now you're maybe 25 cents a house, right? So it's 10 times the cost. You get 10 times the exposure because they have to touch it and the other pieces. And then any of those pieces, you want to have a good USP or call to action for them to call you.
Well, a USP, unique selling proposition. What are your favorite go-to USPs early in your career, and then what are you using today?
Early in my career was the old platitudes that anybody could use. Find out the value of your home, which was, and it's funny. Like in real estate, everybody does it when they start. It's one person told me it's a bit of crude, but it's like they call it incestuous marketing. You just copy and copy, and it gets dumber and dumber and dumber because everybody just copied it, right? But I've evolved from find out the value of your home to, hey, use your neighborhood expert, Jason Clark, to your home sold guaranteed or I'll buy it. Which is obviously very strong.
Yeah, the very, very strong. I've used that USP, the guaranteed sale program, for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. And you've been using it in our Kingston right out of the gate. Is that true? Did you use the guaranteed sale as soon as you dropped in there?
Actually, it was about halfway through my full year here.
And maybe we talk about the guaranteed sale, but let's wait on that and get back to these platitudes, right? Yeah. This is so important. You have to differentiate yourself. You have to differentiate yourself, and differentiating yourself on how much you cost or your splits is not the best way to differentiate yourself.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, I knew that stuff when I was even because I used to help other companies market. It's like, if you're a roofing company, you can open your paper right now at your house, and a roofing, they're going to say, "We've got you covered." Like, that's going to be their line, right? And it's like, okay, yeah, you're going to cover our roof. Good. Okay, perfect. Right, but it's
here's the thing: clear, not clever.
Yeah,
clear, not clever. Right? That's clever, but I always think, here's the question I ask myself when I read advertising and things like platitudes. I'm like, what is the response you're getting in the consumer's mind? If it's so what, or confusion, you're losing. Right. Like, and what's the offer? You got to make a very, very clear offer. What's the very, very clear offer? That's a unique selling proposition. A clear offer.
Like, there's no mincing of words when my offer says your home sold guaranteed or I'll buy it. Like they're okay. That they just call you to go. How does that work? Of course. And how much are you going to buy my house for?
So you go from Kelowna, which is I can be in Kelowna from where I live, everybody, up the Columbia River in 3 hours, pretty much.
Yeah.
3-4 hours. We actually live in the high desert, a similar environment. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So you moved to Ontario and drop me in there. You sell 30 homes your first year.
Yeah.
Do you start a team right out of the gate?
I actually did. I was at one of the Remaxes there, and people could tell that I knew how to market and generate leads. So it was pretty easy to add a few people to the team. But still, at that first year, I really didn't know. Like, I was just, most of my business came from me just being a hustler. Like, it was like, there wasn't anybody. If I talk to anybody, they're going to know eventually that I'm a real estate agent. Like, it's just not. So, people go, oh, what did you do to get this? Where did you come from? It's like, oh no, I actually just kind of worked hard and did some marketing and just didn't sit at my desk waiting for the phone to ring, which will never happen. Right. So that was my start. And then I started to learn a little more, getting deeper into it with the marketing and the USPs. And then I started to evolve. As I evolved, my business changed.
Yeah. So when do you think you're going to give up the role of chief marketing officer of the Jason Clark?
Never. That's what makes me wake up in the morning. That's the most fun part of the job is creating business for everyone.
That is right. Yeah. Like talking to John Sheplack, it's like he says that all the time. It's like behind the scenes one-on-one coaching. He says, the top teams are the best marketers, and they own the marketing. And so many times as a coach and a consultant at Reside, I see line items on their P&Ls, profit and loss, and it's like, what's that? Oh, that's our marketing gal. That's our marketing guy. That's our social media manager. And I'm like, what level of expertise do they have in marketing? How are they driving revenue? They're just doing cute Canva posts, really cute social media posts. And I'm like, but where's the money coming from? So you're the chief marketing officer. You start growing a team. Tell me about that. Tell me about the transition from 30, doubling your sales during COVID.
Well, I'm very strong in listings. I do because I'm doing a ton of marketing, and I'm sure people are wondering about the cardboard, the lady behind me standing there, which is Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank. So I do a lot of marketing with her as well, with TV commercials and radio, and she endorses me for the Kingston and surrounding areas. So I've had abundance of listings, and sometimes I'm not able to actually work with all my buyers. So I was able to bring on agents, go, here is business. The reason I'm doubling is because I mean, everybody has the same amount of hours in the day, and you can't work with everyone. So new agents on my team are doing, like, brand new out of the gate, never been a realtor before, and they're doing over 20 deals the first year, right? Like, one guy right on my team right now, he's at about 30 this year.
30 deals his first year in the industry, and
first year. He started last May in the industry with no deals till he joined my team last November. So he's been with me one full year, and he's over 30 deals in that year.
I mean, that's the power of being a part of a team. And I think that's why I believe teams are the future, because a really strong marketer that's generating opportunities, there's really talented people in the industry and outside the industry that if they were given those opportunities and they want to work hard, take the training, and be skillful, I mean, you're proof that you can, in your environment, 30 deals. That's a great living.
Yeah, it was you've done very well. And it was like, we were looking at the stats, and it's like a brand new realtor, and it's like, I was in the top few in the city, and he was in the top 20. And we're in a city of 650 realtors. Right?
That's good. The Pareto principle, the top 20% make 80% of the money.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to be. And then once you get in the top 20%, you want to be in the top 20% of that 20%. And that's kind of where you're at, Jason, right? You're at the very apex of it. And that's where money, that's where your revenue and your income get wildly exciting, is when you're at the 20% of the 20%. But let's go back to Barbara Corcoran. So the people that can't see Jason, he has a cutout of Barbara Corcoran in back. And if you don't know Barbara Corcoran, she was on Shark Tank. She built a real estate business in like New York City, Manhattan, right? People are calling Jason right now. They want to list their home so many times. But like, she sold her business in Manhattan very competitively, and she endorses you. But you also said radio and TV.
Yeah.
How can you how did you afford that? And even if you had the money, Jason, how do people overcome this? Like, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, did you have a belief you were going to get it back?
Yeah, I've seen other people do it. Like, it was I've seen people doing it. As long as the message is there, you're going to get, a return on it. And I know how marketing works. Like, you can't if we're just starting even with direct mail, it's like, you can't send out 100,000 postcards and think that you're going to be busy. You have to send out postcards multiple every time. You need to be in their face, where eventually they're just like, okay, there's that guy. Because you'll drive around your own town and you'll see a billboard with some realtor you've never heard of before, and you just go, who's that guy? Like, that's how that message worked, because he's not doing any other marketing any other way, right? So I was gaining momentum with all my other, with direct mail and all.
This is touching on what you said, omnipresence.
Yeah.
So let's dive into omnipresence, because one billboard is not enough, you're saying to me.
No, and it's not where you start either. So like, being with, strong on social media, people starting to see all your posts, and obviously your signs listings help a lot when they're driving around town and they see your signs everywhere. And then we have bus benches. I have, I keep adding them as I go. I got an email from the company today. We got 2 more available here. I grab them, add on a couple each month. And then eventually, I mean, you're taught to track where all your clients and leads are coming from. Like, there is not a point now where I can call somebody and there's one way they came to me. Their answer is usually, I see you everywhere. Like, and it's
that's when you know you're winning. Where obviously at the first, who do we have to thank for you giving us a call today? Or how did you hear about us? Or how did you arrive at our website? So I can track the marketing. But as you start layering in radio, billboards, TV, social media videos, and not in that order, right? I think you start with social media videos. You start with listing homes, because signs are huge.
Yeah.
Right.
I started with direct mail just because that's it's something I knew worked. So, and that's like, you just have to believe and do it. You got to go, okay, I'm going to do this for a year, every 3 weeks. And put that budget into it. Start with a small area if you have to.
But that's your mindset. I'm going to do it for a year.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, what does radio cost? I mean, maybe not in your marketplace. Just give people ballparks, right? Like, there's a reason you don't start in radio, because it could be.
Yeah. Like, it's all based on listenership. So you have to, depending on your market. I'm in a market here where we're 150,000 people. The radio reaches out to some smaller towns or close by towns, so it's maybe reaching to 200,000-300,000 people. But if you go into Toronto and you take any station, it's reaching millions of people. So you're paying per listener. So for somebody to start a campaign in Toronto on one station might be 25,000 a month, where in my market it might be a few thousand a month. But it's all relative. You're reaching, but the barrier to entry is obviously 10 times more when you've got 10 times more listeners. So
a really, really strong, unique selling proposition. Make people an offer and values.
Yeah.
Call to actions. what are your top call to actions?
The main call to action is, I mean, it is the your home sold guaranteed, or I mean, I know that's a unique selling proposition, but it's also the call to action, because they're like, I'm not putting a limit on it. Like I'm putting my, money where my mouth is, and that's really the top one, right? I mean,
and this is what we learned, Jason, and I'm curious if you learned this too, through your experience in marketing on radio or on video or wherever, is they will Google you.
Mm-hmm.
So it used to be pick up the phone, call this number, right? 888-888-8888, right?
Yeah.
555-121212. Now it's Google Jason Clark, and then your Google page shows up.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about your Google My Business page? Did you set that up right away? Do you optimize that page? I haven't checked yours out, so I'm hoping I'm pulling on the right thread here.
No, it's totally it's set up. I've had it it's the day I pretty well started be a realtor, or the day I've figured out there was one. Like, I've had one, and you're 100% correct. My TV commercials, my radio commercials, my ads and direct mail, all of them have a phone number that I can track, so I know what they're calling from, and almost every call comes in from my Google My Business tracking number. In it, because it whispers in my ear, it says Google My Business, and I'm like, and then I ask them, "Oh, I saw you on TV," right? So
yes. Well, let's get real tactical here. So at Reside, we and your business, you're part of Reside, and we can talk about that, but we use Follow Up Boss as a primary CRM, but within Follow Up Boss, it's not if you have Follow Up Boss, it's how you use Follow Up Boss. And so Reside has a way of doing automations, action plans, pawns, lead rotations, XYZ. But one area we haven't talked about on this call is phone numbers.
Yeah.
I was just diving deep with a company that does 8 million GCI gross commissions, 8 million in a year, diving into their phone systems. What's your sign number, and where does that go, and who answers it, and who answers it off hours, and how do you track that number? Okay, what about all your other marketing pieces? How are you tracking that number? What's the rotation there? Are you broadcasting it, right? So take me into that. You have a radio, you have a Google number.
Yeah.
Is that a Follow Boss number that you then route?
That was actually, the one is a call rail number, the one in Google My Business, but I will probably switch it again to a Follow Up Boss, because I had that going before I was using the Follow Up Boss. But all my other numbers are Follow Up Boss numbers. So my numbers on my signs, my numbers on ads, if I'm sending out a piece, I have there's unique QR codes and unique phone numbers on everything I send out, when they all get funneled back into Follow Up Boss, and the appropriate person is attached to that phone number. So you can have multiple people that it will ring to their phones or to FUB.
That's the cool thing as a team, right? Like that phone call comes in, now you can have coverage to make sure you don't drop that call and get the call in the right hands.
Yeah.
Right. There's always a cost benefit. Okay, I can have a receptionist I can hire a receptionist to answer all the calls. They're probably going to answer most of them, but are they the most skillful person?
Yeah.
And then they got to hand it off to somebody. So there's always a loss the more people have to touch it.
Yeah.
If I can get that call, a high value call, a low funnel call, I mean, a radio call, Jason.
Yeah.
Right. How good are these calls? I heard you on the radio. What's the difference?
It's they feel like they already know me, right? So they've heard me on the radio. They're listening to the ad multiple times a day. Most people, they're in their car, they're listening to that station. So they've heard it enough, right? Where it's like they call me. I've had multiple people call me where I'm like, oh, do we know each other? Like, because the way they're talking to me, it's like they've known me for years, right? And it's like, she's like, no, I feel like I know you, right? It's it's
it's working when they already feel like they know you and can trust you.
Yeah.
And one way people can trust you is because someone else told them to call you. So referral business, this is like a referral. A referral is when someone that know, likes, and trusts you says, call Jason. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be a past client.
No.
For instance, an endorsement. So you have a Barbara Corcoran endorsement.
Yes. And
so talk to me. What's the power of an endorsement?
Power of the endorsement is if they like and trust Barbara Corcoran, and she says to use Jason Clark to help sell your home, it's just like getting a referral almost from their brother, because they trust her, they like her, they watch her on TV, and hey, if she says he's good, he's good. Right?
Even if they don't know Barbara or watch Shark Tank or are fans of Shark Tank, they know this. Think about this. I thought about this a long time because I did Barbara Corcoran commercials too.
Yeah.
And I do endorsements too. And they go, this is in the subconscious. She would not risk her reputation on Jason Clark unless she knew Jason Clark was the best.
Right.
So they'd be like, I don't even like Barbara, but you know what? If she's going to risk her reputation on you, it says something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's power in that celebrity endorsement, but most people can't get celebrity endorsements, Jason. So what do you do if you can't get a celebrity endorsement?
You get testimonials, you get client endorsements, right? Have your clients recorded, or you take your Google reviews and post those everywhere. Because I mean, if they had a great experience with you, then odds are you will, right? I mean, that's what we do now, right? You go for dinner, you look at the reviews. If it's got 3 stars, you're not going there, right? Like before there was Google, and when we were growing up, you'd go on these long trips with your family, you'd drive into Florida, you're driving wherever. Where would you stop? Everybody stopped at McDonald's, right across, because you knew what you were getting. There could have been the best restaurant known to man that would, right next door, but you have no way of knowing that back then, right?
And also, Jason, this is part of the Google reviews system, right? On your Google business page or various other sources.
Yeah.
I have team members on my team that found me because of my reviews. I say, I just got my real estate license, or I'm taking my test in a couple of weeks. And now I'm calling real estate agencies to see who I want to work with. I called you first. I'm like, well, have you heard of our company? Like, why did you call me? Just like I would a seller. And the agent says, you have the most reviews. Yeah. You have the best reviews. You care about your clients. You have the best results. Yeah. So it is omni, right? Yeah. Yeah. And they're evergreen too. And so when we go on a listing presentation to a seller's home, we have a 1-pager. Yeah. And we give them the 1 page, and the 1 page is reviews. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to make for dang sure that if they didn't go to Google, they read some of my reviews as references. Here are some references. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How are you leveraging the reviews?
I share them on social media, but of course I do bring them to every presentation. I actually have a full book printed out with all of them
really?
And they can leaf through those if they like. And I have my pre-listing package that I send out before I go on the presentation that has a couple pages of reviews in it as well, right? So they're
so I'm underwhelming them with a 1-pager. Jason has a whole book, and I know Brittany Pino has a huge book too. That it's so fancy and nice. She said she wanted her review book to be so nice and attractive in terms of the photos that it would be on their coffee table.
Yeah.
Right, where people because people like to look at really nice, exciting photos like Instagram, right? Like little real estate porn.
Yeah.
So you've doubled your business year after year.
Yeah.
This year you decided to join Reside Platform.
Yeah.
Why were you looking for a platform or solution for your team? Because you're really good at marketing, right? Yeah. You're growing your business.
And that's the thing, right? Like, everybody has their lane, and my lane is marketing and generating business and, selling the business once I get it. But, there's a whole nother hat you have to put on for training and processes and all those other things that agents are looking for, in which I'm looking for. I love learning, right? Like, I don't ever feel like I'm working. Like, I'm driving around my car listening. Like, I can't wait to get in my car sometime just so I know I get to listen to some podcasts, right? Or, but it's all that stuff. It's hard to find time for it all if you're going to run the team, run the marketing. You need these extra help that Reside gives us with processes and training for our agents every week, and then training for us as team leaders, and learning all the new stuff that everybody else is doing across the country and across North America. And it's good to be rubbing shoulders with everybody.
Really, yeah. And I have to acknowledge you and thank you, Jason, because we do weekly leadership calls with John where we go high level and we also go very strategic in terms of business. And you're going to be sharing your USPs. And we've talked before with the group about how do you roll out a guaranteed sale program? How do you roll out other programs that can differentiate you in the marketplace? Because a lot of these programs seem like, well, I can't do that. I don't have the money yet. I don't have the persona yet. I don't have the marketing budget yet. But they don't realize there's a system and a process behind it that allows you to do it.
And doing those things. And there's lots of stuff that I don't know. Like, I got lots of help with Follow Up Boss and Chris Snow doing the program on, setting up the ponds and all that stuff, where my agents love it now, right? They come in, they got one pulled out, 3 different clients in the last 2 weeks, right, from it, and got 3 deals done.
So it's clear to me that I think teams, I don't know why, Jason, but team leaders, they didn't forget this. I think new teams that formed their teams thinking that they could just focus on buyer leads because buyer leads are cheaper, lower cost. Yeah. Anybody can sign up on Zillow in the States or sign up for certain programs, and thinking they could scale a company on buyers.
Yeah.
And I want to just reiterate how Jason came in and he focused on sellers. Was that intentional? Is it intentional because direct mail goes to a homeowner? But was it more intentional in terms of being a listing agent?
It was more intentional being a listing agent, just knowing my patience level to a degree. Be realistic. I mean, the stats out there, it's 1 hour work to every 8 hours working with a listing versus a buyer. So 1 hour for a listing. So I can work with 8 listings versus 1 buyer.
Oh, is that right? I never heard that metric before.
Yeah. I've heard it somewhere and I've kept it in my head, and that's how I've been.
Oh, well, that helps you through. And so at the Jason Clark, on your team, what are kind of their benefits? Not features and benefits, but value propositions on a team member joining your team. Why are they better positioned than the competition? I think a lot of team leaders, broker owners, and even agents out there want to listen to this. Like, if you can choose all these different companies, why choose you? Just like you would need a unique selling proposition and value presentation for a seller, what's that for your agents?
Yeah. I mean, I could pretty much, I do have a guarantee with agents where I'll guarantee you show me what you made last year, and I'll guarantee you're going to make a minimum $30,000 more than last year, or I'll pay the difference. Because like I am confident if you come and work with me and you follow with what we're saying, you're going to get deals. Like there's have to, like, if you stay at home and don't work, I mean, obviously I can't guarantee that, right? I can guarantee you're going to be broke. Like that's all I can guarantee is those 2 guarantees, right? And then there's that, but then the other reason to join my team, I have my own office. Like it's everybody who's here is just on my team, right? So I have full-time administration. You don't have to do all the paperwork. Hand it in, throw it in a pile on the desk. We will sort it out, and you can go spend your time just finding more clients and making more money, right? Because that's the thing. It's when I did, 50 deals by myself, I kind of was doing everything. It's like, I don't think I could have done another deal. Like, by the time I was done with all my paperwork and everything else, I was drained, right? So now it's like I can just focus. Everybody on my team could just focus on getting more and more business because they don't have to do all the little things. We're going to help. We're going to get the stuff to the lawyers. We're going to, like, it's everything's done for you. Like, just show up.
That's a huge value proposition if articulated the right way to the right person.
Right.
Right. I was talking to Angie on my team. Angie she's been there, done that, right? She's sold 55, 60 homes in a year. And she worked for a, Coldwell Banker. I don't know if you have Coldwell Bankers up there, but we have Coldwell Bankers. Great split, amazing split, right? A split that I could not be, I would lose my booty given this split out, right? Yeah. Well, she joined my team. Guess what? Because paperwork. She hates it. She doesn't enjoy that. It bogs her down. It takes her away from her kids and her vacations and her prospecting and her money-making activities. And she stands up at my meetings and is like, listen, everybody, I'm here because the staff is amazing. They do the paperwork. They prepare my files. They prepare my presentations. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so to the right person, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's keep going. Value props to real estate people to join your team.
Other value props. Well, I mean, I'm generating all the business. Like I'm doing all the marketing. There's no cost to you. Like your only cost is your normal. Hey, I'm not paying for your cell phone. You got to have a cell phone. You got to have a car. Normal stuff that you're going to be paying for anyway, and you're going to be able to write those off anyway because it's a business. So all you got to do is show up, smile, and take the leads. And half of them aren't leads. Half of them are appointments. Never mind. Like people aren't, by the time they're calling me, it's usually they've narrowed it down to us and one other person, or they haven't called anybody else. They're we just show up and sign them up. And it's,
so let's dive deep into this.
Yeah.
Okay. I know I hear people's heads in their heads. They're saying, well, Jason, it's you, not me.
Yeah.
Like, but it's not my name.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you're going to hear that, but it's like, it's whatever. I'm doing all the marketing right now and I'm building this omnipresence. Believe me, if I was allowed to put Barbara's face on my sign, I'd probably put Barbara's. We'd get many more calls than from my face. But like right now, we're like, who wants to muddy the waters right now? It's like, okay, like Nick comes and joins my team and he's a huge producer. It's like, okay, we're going to put your face now on the signs. Like, I mean, you're not in any of the commercials and all that stuff. I mean, end of the day, if you're making money, and like the hardest thing in real estate is people's egos. And it's once you get past that, and that's what we're not looking for, people with big egos, like because that's,
well, yeah, I think you nailed it. I don't avoid this. Well, it's not my name. Well, here's the thing, right? Like, I think you're going to get more of that if you're not the one doing videos, you're not the one doing TV commercials, you're not the one putting public speaking, you're not the one going out there. You're going to get that. Here, let me explain why. If you're doing videos, you're putting yourself out there in a way that people aren't going to do it. Like people fear public speaking more than death. They fear and video's no different.
Yeah.
They're afraid to do that. So people never say this to me because they're joining me because they know I'm the one on video, because they don't want to do the videos.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to align myself, or I'm going to hitch up to Jason because Jason's putting himself out there in a way that I would never. Mm-hmm. And then Jason is going to elevate my business, and I can promote myself the way I want to promote myself online. Hey, I just made the top 5 on the team. Like the gentleman you talked about. I can't believe that I sold 30 homes. I'm in the top 20% of all the agents.
Yeah.
Like, is anything stopping him from saying, hey, I'm with Jason Clark and I'm crushing it?
Yeah.
No. So if you want your ego, go for it. I tell the people if I'm recruiting them, I'm like, go for it. Heck yeah.
It's back to when, like you mentioned it earlier about splits and stuff like that. Like it doesn't matter what your splits are if you're not getting any business. You're like, there's tons of 100% brokerages out there. Just pay a monthly fee and you get 100%.
Okay, so there's principles out here, right? So a team is doubling their business, because the leader is a marketer first. The leader is willing to put themselves on videos. The leader is willing to spend money on marketing, and the leader is willing to invest in systems and process for paperwork and kind of integration role for agents.
Yeah,
those are the top two. Any other value props to join the team?
We have, great environment. We like to, our main thing is like, have fun, make money. Like that's that
a core
easy.
value. That's a core value.
Yeah, that's a core value.
I love it.
And get your time back. I mean, if you don't want to, you don't have to go do open houses all weekend. Like if you want to do them, do them. If you don't, if you got to go take your kids out to soccer and baseball, book that off. Like there's tons of, you're not going to have to worry to be a slave to your phone answering everything. We got people to answer the calls. You have your own follow-up boss phone number. You're in, forward it to the office.
Oh,
everybody will answer your calls for you. We'll answer them. We'll get them back to you. You're not going to lose any business. You go on vacation, take a vacation, book it off. Take as much time as you want off.
Yeah, you're not going to get, agents aren't going to join you because of all the tech tools, right?
Yeah.
But they are going to join you for the environment, the marketing, the staffing, and the training.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's a blueprint for them to be successful.
Yeah.
Right. And you have that blueprint, obviously, with that gentleman and the other success stories that sold 30. Yeah. Well, Jason, continued success. I know you double your business again on the listing side with Reside. It's just wildly exciting for us to see that happen and be alongside you there. If you guys haven't, find Jason Clark, find him on probably Facebook. And
I mean, one easy one is I have a domain. It's calljason.ca. It goes right to my whatever it's called, Realtree there. And
awesome. Call
Jason.
Calljason.ca. If you like this episode, you want to hear more from our Reside clients and also all the really smart, cool, successful people in real estate, like, subscribe, comment, and share this with somebody if they want to learn more about marketing, direct response marketing, omnipresence, authority, endorsements, how to build a team, direct marketing. We covered a lot, Jason.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother.
I'm tired. That's a lot of stuff that we're doing. No wonder I'm busy.
No kidding. All right, man. Take care.
All right. Thanks.